Lara Croft, Queen of the Jungle, has entered the secret sanctuary. Is she 1/4 scale or 1/5? Hey statue collectors, Lara Croft, Queen of the Jungle is based on the Shadow of the Tomb Raider video game. I'm not a gamer, so I'm not really familiar with her from that. I'm familiar with her from the movies, and then from this statue, which I first saw at Comic-Con in San Diego last July and was immediately taken with it. I thought it was just a beautiful piece. If you look below at my other videos, you'll see one from Comic-Con covering this piece and Treebeard from the Weta booth. But this one in particular, I really liked the design of. Her kind of coming through the jungle with a look on her face that to me read as anticipating anything, trying to be ready for whatever is around the next corner, not realizing that right above her is the jaguar. So to me, it's one of those pieces where it's kind of a diorama. I mean, you've got her and the jaguar. So anyway, this is limited to 750. There's no exclusive. It's just 750 pieces, and they sold out long ago. I expect it could be a fairly hot item just because of how well it's realized now that we have the production pieces. But let's take a look at some close-ups. Okay, here she is. You saw in my intro that the box for this thing is pretty large. I think the box weight was like 31 pounds, but it's a large box. I'm going to start at the top. A lot of videos start at the base, and I always want them to get up to the top to see the portraits. So I'm going to start up top. Let's talk about the jaguar first, which I think is really nicely done. I think both in photos and in the videos that I've seen, it actually looks like fur, you know, rather than sculpted. And there are spots. Looks really nice. A lot of detail. And then the face is just awesome. Just vicious. And the whiskers, every little detail is thought of here. Here's Lara. And I would have to say, I don't think that this is, I think the proto and the production match almost perfectly. I can't think of anything that has been lost here. Everything from the detail in the strands of hair to her expression, her eyes, the kind of moistness of her lips, everything is just as it was with the prototype. Really, really nice. And I like it because she doesn't look like other statues. She doesn't look like a superhero, you know, female superhero statue. She's got her own unique look, which I think is great. There are lots of little pieces. She's got 2 climbing axes, one of them in her left hand and one of them hanging from her waist from a belt loop. And then she's got this dagger over here, which when I first saw it, I thought it had blood on it, but it's described on the website as rust. And then she has a pistol, holstered pistol on her thigh, which is kind of a classic thing with the character. The clothing is really cool. I mean, it's fully sculpted, but you could mistake it for clothing. And the detail with just the wrinkling looks really, really good. And just like the dirt on her arms, if you can see that. That, I think, adds a lot of authenticity to the statue. See how close I can get there. Isn't that beautiful? Each of the arrows are individual. So you just had a little folded piece of paper in the box with 4 arrows, and they slot in individually. The bow keys in to the back, a very small key. I'm not sure why you want to display it without the bow, so I think it looks really great. The magnets are good. They're not great. I don't feel like they're going to fall off, but there's not a lot of pull. There's a little bit of pull there. There's also been some talk about the plants being plastic rather than sculpted. I can't imagine them doing this sculpted. I think that would have been really hard. And I think the plastic actually looks really good. And if you look closely, if I can get one here that I can keep in focus, this is a good one up here. You can see there's dirt on the leaves. That also, to me, adds a lot of that authenticity. If it was just bright green, it might not look right. It might look fake. But adding the dirt really does a great job of making it look authentic. I also think this is like the best moss that I've ever seen on a statue. It looked really good. That was one of the things I thought about in San Diego, looking at how good it looked, was are they going to be able to replicate that in the production piece? And sure enough, they have. There are some seams in the tree, as you can see right there. That's a large piece that keys in there. It doesn't bother me that much. I mean, sometimes you see something like that with a tree. I think, let me see, I think there was another one. This one here, I mean, you'd have to pull back the plant, but there's a key there, or there's a seam there as well. But overall, I think the plants look fantastic. Look at all that detail on there. Really cool. I'll show you the jaguar again. I wasn't sure what kind of cat it was, so I looked it up on the Weta site, and it specifically mentions that it's a jaguar. Really cool. I keep showing her face because it looks so good. It's about 22 inches tall. When I first unboxed it and assembled it, I thought, wow, this thing's really tall. But I got the new Sideshow Thor a few weeks ago, and that thing is, I think, 26 inches or 25 and a half. So this one's only 22, but it has a presence. I guess that's what I should conclude from that I thought it was taller than it actually is. Give you another long shot. I'll show you the bow a little better. I cannot find any defects on mine at all. I do my reviews very quickly after unboxing, so sometimes I do miss something, like with the new Wonder Woman PF when it turned out she had googly eyes. But on this piece, I've looked it over pretty well, and I don't see any problems whatsoever, which is great because Weta is in New Zealand. This piece shipped from Seattle, so I don't know if I had a return whether I'd be shipping it back to Seattle or to New Zealand, but luckily I don't have to worry about that. But the paint app it honestly seems like one of the better paint apps I've ever seen. No overspray, and just the tiny details that I've already mentioned, like the dirt on her skin, the dirt on the leaves of the plants. Really great details that add so much to the piece. That seam is going to bother some people, but I'm not even going to think about it after a while. It's not the focus of the piece for me. Let's talk about scale for a minute. When the first pictures from San Diego appeared on Facebook and on the message boards, there was some concern about scale. Some people thought that she looked too small. So I measured her today when I unboxed her, and she's about 15 inches, which translates to 5 feet tall. So obviously she's slightly out of scale. I can't say she's 1/5 because that would make her 6'3". So I think she's right in the middle, which would make her about 5'7.5". So halfway between 1/4 and 1/5. So that's Lara Croft, Queen of the Jungle. I do think I'll be keeping this piece. I like it a lot. It does not fit in my collection at all. My collection is predominantly superhero stuff. So it's not going to fit in too well, but I'm going to have to find a place for it because I really like it. It's quite deep. I just did a rough measurement that was about 18 inches deep. So I'll probably have to find a place on the Gorilla shelving that I purchased, which is exactly 18 inches deep. So I can't put her over here because this is only like 11 inches deep, so that won't work. But on the Gorilla shelving over there behind you, it should work just fine. If you have this coming, I'd say consider yourself lucky. At only 750 pieces and such a popular character, I mean, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, from what I've read today, is an immensely popular game with something like 66 million copies sold. So for 750 statues, that's a pretty limited edition. And so I think you're lucky to have it. I know I feel lucky to have it. Anyway, if you haven't subscribed, please do. If you haven't taken a look at my website yet, www.detective27.com, I have some comics for sale there and a few statues, so take a look at that if you're interested. Otherwise, I'll be at WonderCon next week. WonderCon is March 29th through the 31st in Anaheim. There will not be a big statue presence there. Unfortunately, Sideshow's not setting up. I'd hoped that Tweeterhead would set up, but they're not. So I'm not sure if, I think maybe PCS was there last year. Anyway, we'll find out. If there's anything to show you, I will do a video from that convention. Other than that, I'll see you on the message board. I'll see you on Facebook and at a convention near you. Have a good night. Take care.